Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to this week's episode of River City 93. We've had a good vacation. We got to enjoy Labor Day. Came back. The Kickers probably played their best game so far against Westchester, albeit Westchester is a club of jokes and non-serious at this point. But hey, whatever. It's 2 wins in a row. It's been a long time since we said that. Happy Podcasts are back. And joining me to help me with the Happy Podcast is Mr. Matt Myers and Miss Kate. How are you guys doing?
Pretty good. I guess the Kickers are kind of on a 3-match win streak because we got to see the Joeys pick up a league clinching win against NCFC at our season ticket holder event on Saturday night. So 3 wins in a row.
Yeah. By the way, for those who couldn't go, how was that whole, U20s thing? I know Mika and Darren got a chance to speak to y'all at halftime with a couple of players. How was that event? Anything new come out, fun that we can share?
Kate and I know.
Yeah, our ironclad NDAs that we signed with the club to get access to the full financial filings and the 10-year plan.
See, this is how I know y'all lying, because if they would have shared that, I know automatically Kate is over there taking photos,
the same way I'm looking at pictures of the away coaches' tactics folders as soon as they get anywhere close with my triple max iPhone 15 camera quality.
Season ticket sales open up. If you want to be able to know what goes on at those, get your season tickets for next year. Come to next year's.
Yeah, sure. Definitely. Yeah.
One thing, though, that I did find interesting, because it kind of relates back to the Ivy a little bit, is Mika said that one of the goals, it's interesting because the team obviously is successful. They trounced NCFC last night to clinch the league. That'll send them to the league finals in Florida. It's like a tournament in December. But Mika said that their primary goal is individual development, which is, a pretty standard academy line. But obviously it's great that the team is succeeding while also, I guess, allegedly the goal being individual development of the players. And he specifically said, sometimes when you're prioritizing individual player development, it means you won't win games because what individual players need won't necessarily build to a team win, which I thought was interesting, because if anybody watched the post-game press conferences after one of the final Ivy games, the one that Rob coached, they said the same thing about the Ivy, which was a bit of a different line than we were given when the team was founded, when we heard a lot about, making the playoffs and, trying to win the whole thing and having quite a sort of a team success orientation, to both Mads and Rob reiterating that the goal of the Ivy is individual player development and wanting to see individual player growth. So clearly that's something that's being implemented across the non-first team level, which I just think is interesting. Obviously, Joey's tickets are included in our Kickers season packages, so we're not paying anything else. So win or lose, it's sort of just a fun diversion. Get to see a couple, rising stars. But I do think that's interesting in the context of the Ivy, where they charge us a lot more than $0 for the pleasure of going and watching. So I just thought that's interesting to hear that line now being said both about the Ivy and the Academy, that it's about individual player development, and maybe that means the team won't win, which I kind of like the Joey's approach to that better, of not charging me then quite as much money to go watch them.
Let me ask you guys this, because you guys are probably a lot more in the know than me, but is it the club themselves? Because obviously they are paving a way that hasn't been charted out, definitely in lower league soccer. Is it more so about them trying to find that perfect balance? Because on the Ivy side, Kate, and you would know better than me, it is a mix of, I would probably say, elite in the area, U18, U17 players, and like college players. And we've heard who was it that told us? Like pretty much like a lot of stuff that the Ivy wants to do is being kind of put into a box because of the college program and how the college program dictates. Can you obviously I know you don't agree, but can you see where they are trying to level this out at with the Ivy?
Like it does make sense, because if you're thinking about it from a production, like a player production standpoint, obviously you do want to prioritize individual player development. And I think even we've had this discussion with Chenier as well, that one of the problems at the US youth soccer like system as a whole prioritizes team wins over individual player development. Like, the goal of playing on these teams is to like win national championships instead of developing individual players. So I think it is a philosophical difference, where the goal at the youth level, maybe around the world, is developing individual players as an asset that then go on and play at a higher level. But in the pay to play system, if you're paying a lot of money, you want to see results, you want to see trophies, you want to see medals, like you want to see some sort of accolade for your work and your investment greater than maybe even signing a college deal. So there's kind of like a philosophical difference just at the youth level that prioritizes team development over individual player development, to the detriment of that system producing high quality players to go on and like be as successful at the professional level, because they were so focused on being like a cog in a team machine rather than being developed as an individual player. So I do think from a philosophical perspective, it probably is the right choice. Again, it comes back to me, the money that I'm asked to go watch the team, if that is the choice that they're making. I love to materially support women's sports, but it definitely, I think it's slightly, you get a little bit of friction there when you're asking people to pay a lot of money to come watch games and then saying like, yeah, but the team might not win. And honestly, we don't really care, because, if they want to be a development program, that's great. You'll love to see that, but definitely stings a little bit when you are spending a lot of money to get in the door.
Yeah. And Matt, like talking about money, season tickets are now coming out now. Is there, obviously you've had the conversation with Cam, but is there any good reason why we saw the decrease in the prices overall? Because you would think, over the years we've seen them go up and to see them drop, fans might be a little bit on edge on that or a little nervous, but it seems like it's a calculated move on their part, right?
I'm sure it's not like they're going down a lot or anything. It's like almost the same, maybe a slight bit. I mean, they want to get more people in the stands. Attendance has dropped a little bit. They'd rather get the money up by getting more people in the stands than just raise ticket prices alone.
Yeah.
I don't think it's anything complicated.
Okay. Well, also we get more games next year as well, because we're going to a 20 game.
Nobody knows yet. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Well, you know what we do know? Though we got out of the event on Saturday. The players and the staff also talking shit on Westchester, just like we do.
Yes, very much so. It's fair to say that Richmond and Westchester, these are two teams that do not like each other.
I don't know if we don't like Westchester. I don't think they respect the organization at all. I don't think they have anything against the players themselves, from what I could gather.
Well, I can tell Hayden hates what's his name, Joel Johnson or whoever. Which, by the way, we're obviously going to talk about the game, but that foul at the end, I don't see how that's not a red card. But whatever, that's
got
fine.
away with one. Well, I hope they had a bit of a chip on their shoulder after all those times Westchester celebrated in front of Section O. I would hope the players are a little bit salty, but they decided that their supporter section wasn't large enough to inflict the same punishment on, I guess, for both of their goals. I guess they kind of seemed like they were at the end that the supporters group were, but they didn't actually turn and face them. So I guess they decided to be the bigger team there.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, talk about being a bigger team. 2 matches in a row now, kickers back to back. Clean sheets, haven't been able to say that in a while. Got a road win. And not gonna lie to y'all, this might have been the most like relaxing game to go back and watch if you want to go back and watch it. Because the kickers didn't have to get out of first gear. Like, open up, Emi Terzaghi. Emi did what Emi does best with a great backheel goal, which go back and watch it. It's a great goal. But the Westchester defenders, man, like, out of everyone, you forget that guy's open? Like,
they've bought into the propaganda that he's washed.
Look. How could Stephen Payne of the 2022 championship team possibly know or think that Emiliano Terzaghi is good 6 yards from goal? There's no way for him to know this. There's no way for him to think that he might be able to finish if the ball falls right to his feet, from such a long distance.
Yeah.
How could he know?
Yeah.
Let's cut him some slack. In fact, let's cut him so much slack that he's benched while we're recording this podcast.
Yeah, if you didn't know, Westchester's playing Spokane, and the two Richmond guys, man, it has not worked out well for them up there, which I'm not complaining about. But hey, they went for New York, the money, and better airports. And not going to need those, but whatever. So yeah, so Emi scored a fantastic goal. Speaking about the first half, Matt, like what? Darren obviously set this team up in a 3-5-2, but why did it look so quote unquote comfortable for them?
I mean, it got some more reps in there. Combination of that plus LOL Westchester. I mean, like it was overall, good performance. I think the word you used was, I think it's a good call, like comfortable. Like, it didn't seem to be a massive, stress, kind of game. Like, yes, Westchester, had plenty of the ball, but we know this team tends to be better without the ball anyway. And if they want to pass it around the back in the midfield, let them, because even with their shots, like, I'm trying to remember in the first half, like, if James really had to do anything. I know there was that one shot that went like side netting, but it was outside, and they obviously had the offside goal like right before halftime.
That's about it. Until the second half, when the winger came in, cut, he made like a good one-handed save. That was really it.
Yeah,
so they had a lot of shots, but they were wide
inside the box. Yeah, a couple set pieces that kind of didn't come off for them.
Yeah, so I think the system's helping them be organized, and we talked about it. I guess would have been last podcast, as well, with the Knoxville game, where there might have been that one time where James had to really come up with a big save. A lot of the stuff was pretty comfortable because the team didn't let the opposition, in this case Westchester, get good looks. Like, they could rip them from distance, and once in a while that might hit, but you'll take that low percentage kind of chance pretty often. And James' growth and progression, with his positioning too, get in the right spots. Like when they have a free kick, okay, it just ends up right at him because he's able to read right where it's going. Nice and early, he's positioned well, so that way it doesn't look like as hard to save as it really might be. So I think that's the biggest thing. And then fortune favors those who earn it, and got to cash in a couple of those luck chips that maybe were coming due from earlier in the year.
Yeah, Kate, let me pivot towards this, but like one of the biggest knocks you've had on Darren this year was obviously his inability to be flexible with his tactics. Are we slightly chiseling away at the ice pick with seeing them going back to the 3-4-3-5-2 and being comfortable in it?
It has worked a lot. That's one of the things I wrote down actually was like the FOT, like if you look at the FOT mob scores, obviously this is not like maybe necessarily the most scientific, for teams at this level, but when you look at the team, there's 7 of the 11 players would be classed as defensive players because you've got 3 center backs, Beckett and Simon and Dak and James. And in the last 2 matches, all 7 of them have earned at least a 7.0, if not more, which was not necessarily true before. So they have shifted to a much more defensive team. And we've said over and over that, possession-based teams don't win in this league. Like, that's just not a winning strategy. So you also look that in the last 2 matches, they've had 40% or less possession and considerably fewer shots. If FOTMob's numbers are to be trusted, a third fewer shots than Westchester. Westchester had 18 and Richmond had 6. So not being on the ball, sitting back defensively. The other thing I even wrote down was when Landon starts his run for his goal, like when he starts to lightly press, the setter back who's on the half field line, he's at the 30-yard line. Like he's not every player is back behind the ball now out of possession. Like there is not anyone who's hanging up as a target man. Every single player is back behind the ball. That's fine. Just get bodies back there, like especially against a team like Westchester. Like he was reliant on penalties, to say the least. That seems to be a considerable change of just play the low block. Just make it difficult to pick yourself apart. So you got 7 players essentially playing defensively, although Simon has still continued to pick up assists, so that's great. And yeah, even your forward, thank you to the football lines for very clearly delineating where he was on the field. But he started his run from the 30-yard line. Like that, he was very, very far back in our own half when he starts that press. So
yeah,
I think it doesn't have to be complicated. It's just
and to add a couple more pieces of that stat puzzle too. Yeah, they might have outshot us by a lot, but you look at shots on target, it's only 4-3.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of goes back to that, not all shots are created equal. Like, there's good shots and there's bad shots, and you might get lucky every now and then with a bad shot, but you'll, as a defender, you'll take your chances with that.
It also said they had no big chances, so like I guess they didn't count the offside because it was.
Well, it didn't happen.
Yeah, it didn't happen, so they didn't even consider it like a chance at all. So
right.
They had no big chances.
Yeah, the kickers only had 1, which I'm guessing they don't classify Emmys as a big chance, even though he was 6 yards from goal, because surely the open net tap in was the big chance. But you never know. I don't always know how they
decide.
Classify.
Yeah, these things are never really said. They're kind of just like, here you go. I think the other thing too is about this is like it is a system that plays. It suits everyone well for the most part, right? Like there might be a one outlier here or there, like maybe Simon Fitch, just being a wingback, but like everyone else, it kind of seems to suit them well. Like you got the best out of Landon being an inside forward because he wasn't forced to go 1v3 or 1v2 versus defenders, so you can focus a little bit more inside. Emmy was allowed to drop in and help with build out play. Dak was able to cover the back line. Like Marcelo Large, like really, like if I was in charge of determining like who was the man of the match this game, I would have given it to the whole back line because they did such a fantastic job of just forcing Westchester to restart attacks over and over and over. Like there were so many times Westchester, because all they did was try to get the ball wide and cross it in, which I don't know if they did the scouting report, but if you look at Large, Chella, and Griffin Garnett, they're obviously taller than Omegon, like significantly taller. And they kept trying to cross it in, and I'm like, yo, that's not gonna work. Like you're playing in the Richmond strength. And they just kept clearing it out. And even so much so, like Griffin Garnett and Becca Howe did a great job of closing out Sadie. What's his name? Sadie? I think it's Sadie, the right winger. Because if you go back and watch the last Westchester game, what did he do? He would try to pull you wide and then cut in for a shot. And he tried that so many times. And Griffin, like I'm pretty sure Darren sat him down, was like, don't let him go inside. He can go outside. Don't let him cut inside. And they snuffed that out multiple times. But yeah, but like really the defensive line played great. They kept James out of pressure. Yeah, it was the one shot given up, but it's a shot from outside the box that he just hit right. It wasn't as if James had to stand in his head. Nothing like that. And it was a comfortable night, which once again, it's been a long time since we had one of those.
Yeah, and you mentioned this earlier, back-to-back clean sheets, and yes, we have and probably will continue to clown on Westchester. Their defense sucks. Their offense is actually usually pretty decent.
Yeah.
So shutting them out is noteworthy. Even though they're the bottom of the table, you might think, okay, well, if you're going to shut anybody out, it should be them. Probably not. Actually, looking at the stats for the year, like Knoxville was actually the more predictable clean sheet than this game.
Mm-hmm. Because Obregon is rarely. Obregon, we all know this. He does a great job of getting like these ticky-tacky bullshit. I would say bull crap fouls. And I mean, he got one. He got one at the edge of the box, which was not a foul. He literally fell, and when he got the card, he got the free kick. Nothing happened from it. But Matt, like you said so many times, like as long as Richmond doesn't get in their own way, and so far the last two games they haven't. They haven't gotten in their own game. Yeah, one ounce was a different level versus the Winchester, but he didn't give them the opening to get back into the game. We thought he came at the end of the first half, and I was just like, all right, like we just got stuffed out. But luckily, he was offside by a country mile, and we live on. We live on.
Mm-hmm. And I would be happy if our end of our run in is defensively minded.
Mm-hmm.
Because obviously it's earned a couple of results that we haven't seen before, especially if as fun for the neutral as our last matches against Westchester have been, a little bit stressful as someone who actually cares about one of the teams. The main thing that I would say will be interesting going forward is actually getting a little bit more out of the attacking players. I was just on FODMOB a lot. I was clicking around. Have been on there a while. But in the last two matches, Emmy scored well. He was rated well. He had a good performance because he scored a goal. Soyfert was man of the match according to their little number calculation system. But every other attacker who was brought in was like nobody else was green. And none of the attackers were in the green for Knoxville because Marcelo Lodge got the goal. So I wouldn't say like Emmy had a great performance, and Simon's still been contributing as a wingback and picking up assists. Mm-hmm. So I guess now we'll see, like, is this going to be pretty heavily defensive and kind of picking off a few goals here and there? Because right now I wouldn't say most of our attackers are having like super productive. They're not hurting anything, but it'd be interesting to see whether like we'll continue to see that trend of like the defense excels and the attack, we're picking up goals off set pieces or, any moment of magic, that sort of thing and kind of seeing maybe some more under or neutral performances from the rest of the attackers.
Yeah. You know what makes soccer fun to watch? When your team wins. Right?
Yeah.
True.
Tons of people, nobody seemed to mind, Milan back in the day when, it was, the full, I can't pronounce Italian, right? The Catenaccio or, Mourinho at, his heyday when they were allowing like less than 20 goals a season and all that, right? Those fans were, shockingly okay with all the winning, even if it might not have been the most to the neutral, thrilling, sort of games. So I'm cool with how it's progressing right now, and if we can keep the defense tight, great. Because even when we were going for it on the attack sometimes early in the year, it was 50-50 of which version of the attack we were getting anyway.
Yeah,
and 50-50 may be generous as well. So keep tidy with the defense, and I'll take my chances.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I mean, honestly, like going back to what this system provides, it seems like that is what works best for this team. Because we were the 4-3-3 high flying, we were always like, something's not right with this defense. Like it is very, very much wide open. If they can, I think about it, it's easier to fix a defense than it is to fix an attack. Right? Like, so if they can, if they scrap away a goal here and there, like the one Knox game, for instance, like Marcelo Lodge, like, yeah, that was the only shot on target, but they made it count, right? Landon's goal, goalkeeper has probably the biggest thing in his career, made it count, right? But like a leaky defense can sink you so much. And we saw that at the start of this year with the 4-4 game against Westchester, the Greenville game. There's another game that matter of fact, the Henny Derby, where literally 2 defensive mistakes on our part gave Ford Madison their chance to beat us at home, right? And they actually just sucked the air. But you have a great defensive performance in front of you, and now this team has 2 back-to-back clean sheets heading into part 2 of the Henny Derby, and probably on both sides of a 10-day break. And that's another thing too. Like how much do you guys think these 10-day breaks or quote unquote 20-day breaks have helped this team just settle in? Because it seemed like we were going through that massive losing streak. And Kate, you said like what was it, like a 10-game losing streak or something like that? Like how much of that the break that we are in now has helped this team just come over, recover from injuries, but then also like just settle into this new system and kind of clear our minds?
I mean, obviously I hadn't heard it, right?
Yeah.
And
because I mean, that was the thing Darren was saying, like Darren and the players were saying, like, because when we last talked about the One Knox game, they were just like, we want to be playing, we want to get back to playing. And I'm just sitting there and I'm like, I think you guys need a break. Like, I think that's the adrenaline talking. It's kind of like when you break a bone and like you don't realize it until the adrenaline wears off. You're like, oh, this hurts. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think.
Go ahead,
no, go ahead. Oh, I was just gonna say, Martin. They brought in a new center back. Maybe we've been hearing too much training, not enough training, whatever the excuse of the moment is. But maybe they did need a couple training sessions to integrate a new center back into the back line as well, because brought in a new player. Give them.
It might have also been, and I don't know this as a fact at all, but I know earlier in the year that when they had one of the longer breaks, some of the guys actually got like full days off, like 3 or 4. I don't know if that was another time just now with the scheduled extended break in there, where some of the if some of the guys were actually just able to get away from the game for a few days. There's something to be said for that sometimes. I mean, it's hard. It's absolutely apples and oranges to compare professional athlete to desk job, but it's you go away on a short vacation. Usually you come back, you're usually more re-energized and you're more engaged at work again. I'm just going to make the correlation or the comparison that would be the same thing here, assuming that even happened in the first place.
Yeah, it seems as if like they were able to get their break, come back relax. I mean, not come back relax, but just be clear. Like they just look light. They didn't look like we're in the midst of a 10-game losing streak and everything. And everyone sucks.
We never lost 10 in a row. Just for the record.
Yeah. Well,
the big difference between losing streak and winless streak.
Yeah, this is true. Well, yeah. I mean, anything else to add on the Westchester front? I mean, outside of we don't have to go back up to New York, and that's another season series. I think that's now 2 teams that we've beaten in the season series. Them and Union Omaha. Am I missing another? I feel like that's it.
Take that.
Yeah.
Most successful team and most spendiest team both fail the Richmond kickers test.
Right. So you can't be upset about that. Moving on, we go talk about the next game. We have, everyone's favorite matchup, the Henny Derby, this upcoming Saturday. Me and Matt will be making I don't want to say Tetris, like up there. Be in the game there on Saturday. Various other people will be there, but let's talk about the game. What is needed from Darren and the crew to get this over the line to even up the Henny Derby, so I don't have to give him the trophy automatically on October 25th?
Oh Lord, that's.
Which, by the way, I want people to know the trophy is not going to be up there for the game because of shipping. Like, it's insane.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I think Westchester is the lowest scoring team in the league. I'm checking right now.
Westchester? No.
They have 23. Oh, sorry, Madison. Madison is the lowest scoring team in the league. 23 goals for. So by a considerable margin. I think the next lowest is 28. So this new look, defensively tight kickers, this would ideally be a good test against a team that doesn't score very often, hopefully.
I mean, you say that, but 2 of their last 3 games, they've dropped 3, in there. So, they've brought in Madison's brought in a bunch of guys on loan over the course of the season, and I feel like they're all attackers. So their recent results are all over the place. Like they slapped Texoma around at home, and then went and just got absolutely drilled by Tormenta. And then last night, the late night game we're in a wild shootout with Alta, 3-3. So I mean, how do you know what to expect out of these guys right now, because they are just wildly inconsistent at the moment. Like first part of the year, they were boring as hell. Like everything was 0-0, 1-0, stuff like that. But lately, it's just been kind of I don't know.
Yeah. No, I mean, honestly, I don't know what to think about this team because, like you just said it, Matt. Like they've been all over the place, and I hate to say it, like it makes me think about our game against Tormenta way differently, because to see them put 4 against Madison, like it wasn't as if Madison made a mistake. They just cut through Madison like it was hot through a knife through hot butter. Like it was bad.
Mm-hmm. With a classic 60-40 possession, Madison had 60% possession.
Yeah, and I don't know what to think of Madison. Like let me say this. I want to see from Richmond a game plan of which they can be comfortable and strike when they need to. And put Shipman under some kind of pressure. Because I think like if you put Shipman under pressure, the dam in Madison can break. And also, this is a club that, if you didn't know, they this past week posted a video of the Henny Derby and forgot all about they had to play AV Alta and drew the game. So they had a chance for this upcoming Henny Derby to be ahead of Richmond on points, but then crapped the bed because they were looking ahead once again. And like I know people like are the Kickers in a good situation? No. Obviously this whole season as a whole. But honestly, we could be in a situation like Madison, who spent all this money, got all these players, and if things go a certain way, they can finish dead last at the bottom of the table, which I will find hilarious because that would be their first official trophy.
You think Westchester's winning at least 2 more games?
From now on, because we don't play them again, I'm rooting for Westchester when they play Madison, when they play Texoma, when they play Portland.
Well, sure. You really think they're going to win at least 2 more games?
I don't know, but whatever helps us climb up the table, I'm here for.
Well, yeah. I mean, again, obviously, that's the case. We want them to take points away from the teams we need to pass for that last playoff spot, but I'm not counting on much happening there.
They're currently drawing Westchester. We're dating this episode, but it's halftime and it's 1-1. So they're not out of it yet. Obregon has scored. Not a penalty.
Not a penalty. Okay. I was going to say
still 5 points, and they're still 5 points off of us for the last spot. So out. And that's even with them getting gifted the other Spokane game.
And they do still have to play Omaha, Portland, Chattanooga, Naples.
It'd be great if they could get those points off Omaha and Portland, because that would help us out a bit. But don't really care about the teams behind us or even right around us. We more focused on the teams ahead of us at this point.
Yeah.
Well, come on, where's your true haterism, Matt? You're normally a great hater.
It's still deep in my heart, but this is the time of year where we get to full pragmatism, and if we get to the point where, hey, it's in our best interest to, okay, I guess that won't happen because we play Madison last game of the season, but it's in our best interest to have Greenville beat some random team because that'll help us out. Go Greenville.
Never said a bad word against him.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
So I mean,
always loved
after
it.
this, my fault.
I always thought Toronto was a great club.
Nothing but respect for that organization and their dirt pile.
That's wrong. So after this Madison game, Richmond comes back home. They play Portland, which is not an 8 p.m. game. That is a 6:30 because of the U.S. Open Cup.
Mm-hmm. Well, and fall is coming. Fall is coming. We're taking back our start times.
So you got that game. Then on Saturday they play Charlotte. So really, like in the span of a week, when we come back and talk, right? Well, not when we come back and talk, but like in the span of a week, Richmond would have played Madison, Portland, and Charlotte, and can find themselves anywhere on the table. And it wouldn't surprise me where, because Charlotte's been in a bad run of form. They've been kind of all over the place. Portland's been hit or miss.
Portland's been hot, dude. Portland's on a 3-game heater right now.
Oh, they are? Oh, see, I'm looking at the wrong thing.
And they still got games in hand on everybody.
There's no way Portland thought about this in mind. Also, I don't understand how I thought they drew Greenville. I now see they won. The fact that Greenville lost the way they did is such a goddamn shame. Greenville can't do anything right. But yeah.
Oh, we have nothing but respect for them as an organization.
Oh, TBD. TBD. Only if it benefits us.
Yeah. I mean, this is what I want. I want Richmond to be in a position where they are in control of their own destiny, and right now we're not. Like, is it fair to just say, like...
Oh, no. I'm pretty sure this is ridiculous, but if they win out, there's no possible way they miss the playoffs. So they're still in control of their own destiny.
Yeah.
Like, realistically, I think, this game on Saturday against Madison is unofficially a lose and go home sort of situation, though.
So you think losing Madison just pack up the rest of the season?
I think for either team, because right now, we're both on 23 points. They played one more game, than us, and they're actually in a worse spot than that because the USL League won the tiebreakers wins, and they're only on 4 wins. They've got an absolute ton of draws, but they're going to lose probably any tiebreaker the rest of the way this year. I just mentioned Portland. They've moved up the table quickly. They're in 7th right now, and they're on 30. Omaha's 8th right now on 27. They played a game less than us. So we're 4 points out right now. At least one game in hand behind the teams we need to be able to chase. So I'm just going to be realistic and say Omaha's going to win that game against Westchester. That game in hand. So kind of 7 points off the pace. So that's not realistically. You need 3 wins for the rest of the way, assuming those other teams don't win at all. And if we only have 7 games left to do that, that's going to be challenging. If you've got only having to chase down 4 points with 7 games to go, that all of a sudden becomes a lot more viable, a lot more possible.
Yeah.
So mathematically, no, it's not win or go home. But realistically, I don't think either team can afford a loss.
Yeah. Kate, what do you see from Richmond going into this Madison game? How obviously you'll probably be at the watch party, so I'm pretty sure it'd be lit there.
I actually am gonna miss it.
Oh,
I know. But it might be too stressful anyway. It might be one of those where I'm gonna be glad that I wasn't suffering through the epic highs and lows of the Henny Derby.
Do you have another high school reunion, like your 5th one of the year?
Yeah. Yeah. It was so fun. We decided to do it again. No, it's a friend's housewarming. So I'm going to be making a home very warm and hoping that the Kickers are making Madison's home very cold.
That sounds like
what really makes things warm? Going
Hennessy?
Yes.
You know what else? Smoke bombs.
What?
Can't argue with that.
There you go. Okay. All right.
Well, Matt, watch the game. Light the smoke when we score.
At the home.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, Matt. I thought you said foot like foot bombs, like the things you put in soap. I mean, put in water. That's what I thought you said at first. I didn't hear you say smoke bombs. Never mind.
Bath bombs.
Yeah, that's what I thought you said. I thought you said bath bombs,
Yeah.
and I was like, what? Okay, like maybe Matt is a homeowner extraordinaire.
Walk with me here.
I'm positive Kate's friend would enjoy a nice, red and kind of pink, glaze, on her, walls and ceiling of whatever room that is.
Yes.
We have samples, from the stadium wall to be able to show, kind of the ongoing effect. It looks nice.
It looks nice.
Right. So what better way to, welcome somebody into
Make a home feel yours.
Right. And specifically allowing others to feel at home at your home by watching the game and celebrating appropriately.
Yes. That does require that the kickers do score. So I would say that's my biggest. I wouldn't say right now, I'm like, well, the goals will come from X. So I hope that there is a goal, and it's for Richmond and it's not for Madison. I'm feeling a little more confident that they might be able to keep a clean sheet or not leak goals. But I'm a little more like each game might be sort of like we don't know going into it where the goal might come from. So that to me
just makes it hard to defend. It's not like in the past where where's it going to? Oh, is goal going to come from Emmy? Yeah. Okay. Guard him with 3 guys.
Yeah.
Now you don't know where it's coming from. See, problem solved, Kate.
You're right. You're 3 steps ahead. Yeah, maybe Espinal, Darwin can get back on the score sheet. That would be nice. See him pick up a goal.
Yeah,
or
I feel like this game needs to be a Hayden goal because if there's anybody that's going to just toss the mess to the fans after the goal, firsthand we know that this to be true. I need that. And he's been amping up each of the last couple games. Showing his art.
Yep.
Time to hit final stage.
Mm-hmm.
I need to go
Blonde Zaka. But yeah, so I think a goal, and I wouldn't even I'd even take a goal from a defender, a la Marcelo Lod, maybe a Barnathan goal off a set piece. That could be fun. I think there's a lot of we could write a lot of fan fiction about where the goals could come from and what scenarios would bring us as kickers fans the greatest narrative satisfaction. But yeah, I hope
he does it with another bike.
Yeah, exactly.
That would be wild if he has another bike out there. So me and Matt will be up there. Matt, is Maryland soccer any good? Because we're seeing them Friday night.
Undefeated right now. Just beat down Pacific 4-0. Saturday afternoon.
All right. So anything else from y'all before we wrap up?
It's go time.
Yeah.
Right now, and
it's Army week.
If there's one thing that's been consistent most years, is that the kickers have kind of caught fire right around this time of year. Last year, yes, ignore 2023. 22. This was the stretch where they really kind of put the top of the table on ice. 21 is this late season heater where they won 5 in a row. Lock up that playoff spot. 2020 is pandemic, so time of year is a little wonky there. But yeah, this is prime time, and they're heating up right on schedule. So let's get excited.
Right. Yeah. December 1st is when Mariah Carey defrosts, and late August is when the kickers defrost. So all we want for Hispanic Heritage Month is a Richmond win.
That would be great. But as always, folks, we just want to say thank you for taking the time of your day for listening to our show. Because without you, we couldn't do this. We wouldn't want to do this. And we love doing this. Especially when we win, we get to have happy podcasts and we get to talk about the good things and not about the bad things. So, As always, for Matt, Kate, and myself, we will holler at you guys next week, where we're going to figure out when we're going to record, because me and Matt are probably going to be traveling back from Madison. You might get a Kate one-person solo.
A monologue. I can't wait.
If Saturday goes really well, maybe get a real-time update.
Maybe.
That would, in that case, would probably be wild.
Probably so.
The first won't be live Henny shot
stadium wild, but it might match it. It might match it. So yeah. So we'll holler at you guys next time. Be easy and be safe.